They Talk 1580.
This holiday season, KBLA Talk 1580 wishes you and yours joy, peace, and prosperity. As we celebrate with family and friends, we're already looking forward to an exciting first quarter, packed with must-attend events to kick off the new year just right. In January, join us for our inaugural Brotherhood Brunch, bringing together community leaders, change makers, and everyday people for inspiration and connection. February means it's time for our signature Black History Month luncheon, a powerful celebration you won't want to miss. And in March, Women's History Month, we're once again hosting our State of Black Women in Los Angeles Symposium and Luncheon, addressing the issues that matter most inside our community. From all of us at KBLA Talk 1580, happy holidays. Stay tuned for more details on these incredible upcoming events. KBLA Talk 1580, your voice, your community, your power.
Live from historic Leimert Park in Los Angeles, California, I'm Tavis Smiley, and I'm so glad to see you and me back in stride again. Before we get started with today's show, let me invite you to follow me on Facebook and Instagram at The Real Tavis Smiley, and get updates on X, that's formerly Twitter, at Tavis Smiley. By the way, should you miss any part of today's program or want to catch up on previous shows, you can always visit thetavissmileyshow.com. That's thetavissmileyshow.com, or wherever you get your podcast, and listen to the Tavis Smiley podcast version of this live program at your leisure. Another great show on tap for you today. In our second hour, how did Coretta Scott King, Betty Shabazz, Merle Evers Williams, Rosa Parks, and others handle the stress of the Civil Rights era? A conversation with Tara Pringle Jefferson about her new book. It's called Bloom How You Must, A Black Woman's Guide to Self-Care and Generational Healing. We'll do that in hour two. In our third hour, two more conversations. Up first, we'll be joined by sports writer and podcaster Paul Nepper and go inside his new book. It's called Moses Malone, The Life of a Basketball Prophet. For all you youngsters, Miles, Moses Malone. You ever heard of Moses Malone? Okay. Moses Malone was the first modern-day basketball player to jump directly from high school to the pros, long before Kobe Bean Bryant, LeBron, or even Kevin Garnett. Full disclosure, Moses Malone was a member of my team, the 76ers, when they won the NBA World Championship in 1983, led by my man, Julius Dr. J. Irving. You ever walk in my office here at the studio, you'll see a basketball signed by Dr. J to me as a gift many years ago. He's my friend. Who knew that I'd ever meet my hero? But I love me some Dr. J. They won it back in '83 with Moses Malone. So we'll talk about that on the backside of hour two, on the top side, rather, of hour three. On the B side of hour three.
Remember when y'all used to spend the night over my house when we were kids? We would pretend to be Destiny's Child.
You let me be Beyonce like one time.
Yeah.
Friday night at the rink.
Skating is your life.
We all in this together.
We from the gutter, born and raised.
I want to see the world. What's her for us?
Home is her.
Here's some more sweet tea for y'all.
Keisha, what are two things you good at?
Doing her and skating.
Really trying to push this modeling thing.
We got a daughter.
So I can't chase my dreams no more?
I
Grandpa been taking care of me his whole life. I just want to return the favor.
Bad money ain't always good money.
They hosting a skate competition. First place is $50,000.
We gonna practice and we gonna get you right. Where is Brian? All we gotta do is believe in ourselves. This could be our way out.
Hell yeah.
We will talk with Deji LaRae and Thomas Q. Jones about their bold new original series. It's called Grits. I love Dr. J, and I love grits. But this Grits stands for Girls Raised in the South. Girls Raised in the South. Grits is an 8-episode series that follows 3 friends navigating life, ambition, and womanhood in the South, Memphis, Tennessee, to be exact. We'll talk about that with Deji and Thomas on the B-side of Hour 3. But in this first hour, 2 more conversations on the B-side of this hour. The co-founder of Black Votes Matter, LaTosha Brown, talks about the economic pressure campaign. We ain't buying it. I love that. We ain't buying it as a tool for holding Donald Trump and his enablers accountable. That on the backside of this hour. We commence today's show in conversation with Michael Goodyear, associate professor at New York Law School, about how this week's Supreme Court case, Cox v. Sony, could change how we all access the internet and likely cut off those who need it the most. This case is kind of under the radar. Everybody's talking about Pete Hegseth and the trouble he's in, killing people on boats. After they fired on the boat, 2 folks survived. He ordered them to go kill the last 2. I mean, this is some nonsense. I mean, this is stuff it's just mind-boggling, the stuff that Hegseth is getting away with at the Department of Defense, or war as they call it, every single day. So that story's trending, along with Trump demanding that we cancel, stop, pause all asylum applications. We discussed that yesterday. So a lot of stuff that's trending politically this week, but this thing is kind of under the radar, and I wanted to bring it to your attention because it impacts all of us who use the internet. Michael Goodyear, how are you, sir?
I am well. Thank you, Tavis, for having me on.
It's my pleasure to have you on. So I got 2 or 3 minutes here now, right quick. We got the rest of the half hour, but in 2 or 3 minutes, sort of set the frame for me. We're students in your classroom at New York Law. Explain to us in a few minutes what this case is about, and then we'll jump from there.
Yeah, so you're absolutely right. This is definitely a sleeper hit, but a very important case nonetheless. So it involves copyright, which is an intellectual property protection over the things that we create, our expressive work. So things like music, art, literature, and the like. And there's an open question of when we should hold other people liable for one's infringement of copyright. So if, say, I copy one's artwork, should someone else be held liable for that? And this is the question before the Supreme Court of when could an internet service provider potentially be held liable for copyright infringements that are being facilitated through that internet service. So the Supreme Court heard oral argument in this case yesterday. The parties that were arguing are Cox, the internet service provider, and Sony, rights owner. The government also intervened, and Solicitor General presented the views of the government as well in this case. But the big question here is, when could an internet service provider be liable for these infringements that are occurring through the system? The argument from the Cox side is these are just pipes. We have no actual control over the infringement. We should not be held liable whatsoever, full stop. Mm-hmm. The wrinkle with this becomes Cox wasn't such a good actor. They had a lot of knowledge that several of their subscribers, the associated IP addresses they provide internet to, were engaged in infringement, not just once, twice, 3 times, but upwards of 13 times. And typically under copyright law, at least as it currently stands, we're going to hold someone liable if they don't do anything about that. And there were some not great facts from Cox, saying things that were rather critical of the law that governs there, throwing takedown notices effectively in the trash. And so there's a question, should we hold them liable because they were such a bad actor here? But the problem is, what would they have to do? The only real tool in their pocket, or at least the final tool they could use, is to shut off internet access for these IP addresses. The problem is IP addresses are a limited resource. Not each of us gets an IP address. Typically, there might be one just associated with a business, with a hospital, and even sometimes with regional internet service providers. So especially in more rural areas, there might be one IP address that works for a few tens of thousands of people. And so that's the real question of we wouldn't just be shutting down one individual, but potentially many more folks' internet access.
I know for some of y'all, Michael Goodyear is talking Chinese. So when we come forward, I say all the time, I love these academics, but they have to have what I call a usable intellect. So he just explained it vis-a-vis the law. When we come forward, I'm going to press him a little harder and make him explain why this should matter to you. Why does Sony's fight about their copyright infringement matter to everyday people? That's the question. We'll unpack it when we come forward on Tavis Smiley.
Hope, agency, dignity. This is Tavis Smiley.
Can you dig it? Come on!
Make a move into a home of your own. With City National Bank's Ladder Up Home Loan Grant, you could receive up to $20,000 that you never need to pay back. Use it toward your down payment, save on closing costs, or to buy down your mortgage rate. Find out more at cnb.com/ladderuphome. City National, here for every stage of the journey. Property must be in a qualifying market in California, New York, or New Jersey. Additional terms and conditions apply. Not all applicants will qualify. Terms are subject to change without notice. City National Bank is an equal housing lender. Member FDIC. NMLS number 536994.
It's a classic odor tale. You fried fish for dinner, cleaned up, but the smell is still in the house. And the neighbors are coming over for game night. They're on their way. And then you spray Febreze Air Mist. Febreze Air starts working instantly to fight even your toughest odors, so you go from fish to fresh like that. Now all you have to worry about is Pam cheating at charades.
Breathe happy, Febreze, la 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 la.
Break out the champagne. Everybody get a glass.
Tavis Smiley is now ranked number 16 nationally and the highest rated talk show hosted by an African American on the 2025 Talkers Heavy 100 list of the most important talk radio hosts in the nation. Last year, Tavis ranked number 33, and the year before, number 45. The Tavis Smiley Show has rapidly expanded its national syndication to now include nearly 50 radio stations across the country and counting. Congratulations, Tavis.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, how's that flu, babe? Did you take Dayquil Intense Flu yet?
Nah, I got this. Ugh, okay, I don't got this.
You stay on the couch, and I'll grab the Dayquil.
Undo your flu symptoms with Dayquil Intense Flu. Dayquil Intense Flu provides powerful relief of your flu symptoms.
I'm ready for that to-do list.
Wow, you do got this.
Dayquil Intense Flu. The daytime coughing, aching, fever, under your flu, medicine. Use as directed, keep out of reach of children.
Hey, can you blow up some balloons for Jack's party?
I can't. I'm so congested.
You need Sinex Saline from Vicks.
Sinex Saline Nasal Spray?
Yeah, just Sinex. Breathe.
Sinex Saline instantly clears everyday congestion associated with colds and year-round allergies with a gentle, ultra-fine mist that's no mess and easy to control.
Daddy, we need more balloons.
On it.
Enjoy life's important moments without congestion. Try Sinex Saline from Vicks. Just Sinex. Breathe. Use as directed.
He's a paradigm pioneer and the top-rated African-American talk show host in the nation, according to Talkers Magazine. You're tapped in with Tavis Smiley right now.
Tavis Smiley, Michael Goodyear, professor at New York Law. Okay, Michael, I was just saying to my team here, and they know this, they hear this speech all the time. I've been at this for 30-plus years, and my North Star in all of my career has been my mama. My mama, Joyce, is listening in Indiana right about now, and if my mama don't understand this, then don't nobody understand it. I got to make sure that my mother understands what we're talking about here so that everybody else I know is on the same page with me. So Sony is concerned about their copyright, the stuff that they own, the stuff that they produce, being misused, being abused on the internet, and they want to hold service providers like Cox accountable. I ain't mad at Sony because if I own something, I've written some books and I've done some documentaries in my career. I own that IP. That IP stands for intellectual property, mama. I own that IP. And I don't want somebody misusing and abusing my IP without paying me for my IP. So Sony is trying to protect what it has produced, and Cox, they believe, ought to be held accountable. I hear the point that you're making, Professor Goodyear. That's a high bar. But tell me why Sony's fight should and does, in fact, matter to all the rest of us. So break it down for me.
Yeah, so it's really when we can hold, or when we would say that Cox is going to be responsible, right?
Mhm.
So there's a difference. Let's say that I'm the one who's infringing your IP.
Right.
You know that you can be mad at me. I'm the one who took it from you. I did the bad thing. I sold your book that I put under my name, that sort of thing, right?
Mhm.
But let's say that I'm selling that book through an e-commerce platform like Amazon, or I'm sending around PDF versions of it over the internet to you, your mom, everyone else, right?
Mhm.
Then there's the question, okay, can we hold these pipes, the internet that's kind of allowing me to send the infringing book around to everyone? Can we hold them responsible?
Got it.
And the real issue comes there that we're sharing those IP addresses with everyone else. So if the remedy, right, what we want the ISP, the internet service provider, to do is stop internet access, and that's what Sony's claiming here, then it could shut it down not just for me, but my entire household. Let's say I'm using the internet here at New York Law School to infringe, then maybe the entire internet could be shut down for New York Law School. If you were still living with Mama Joyce, then perhaps she would lose internet access if you were infringing. So it's a question of, it has that kind of that intuition, right? That Cox has done a bad thing. We want to hold them responsible in some way. But the remedy that seems to be coming up so far, it's a really harsh remedy. And that could affect everyone. If we don't necessarily know if other people in our household who are using our internet are going to be infringing.
So then so I'm with you now. And I think Mama Joyce is with you now. I appreciate that. So
well, I'm glad to have her vote.
Yeah. I think Mama's with you now. Of course, I'll find out after this show today when she calls me and tells me that she did or did not understand it. That said, so then I hear that it's a high bar. Cox is like, what are we supposed to do? I mean, we shut everybody's internet access down. I get Cox's response, but the question remains: how then do we protect Sony's IP? And in this case, it's Sony. Tomorrow it could be Miles, my board op. He's a music producer. It could be me, and my books could be any of us. So again, Sony's fight in some ways is in fact our fight, and by our I mean if you are a content producer, if you produce any kind of content that finds its way onto the internet, you're selling it, you're sharing it, whatever it is. If you use the internet and you produce content, we're in the same boat essentially that Sony is in. So again, Sony's fighting this fight, but it really does matter to all the rest of us. On the flip side, as Michael said earlier, if you're an internet user and you end up being demonized because somebody else violated copyright, then why should you be held accountable? So I get it's a very tricky conversation. It's a tricky case. I get it. But the question is, what is the remedy? How then do we protect Sony's IP, or in this case, all the rest of the rest of us who have any sort of intellectual properties?
Yeah, I mean, this is what makes me nervous that we're now at the Supreme Court with this question. And I don't think we would have been here except with Cox's somewhat bad behavior. I mean, one of these laws that does provide kind of a set of guidelines that an internet service provider could take to never be held liable. So kind of a good actor sort of safe harbor. So they could stop repeat infringers, make sure that they're doing things kind of in the right way. And they didn't do this at all. There was evidence that came up in the lower courts that effectively they said, well, we hate this law, we're not going to follow it, and we're going to throw things in the trash. And copyright law and the law more generally, it doesn't like folks who are kind of malfeasance, right? Like bad actors that are doing these sort of things, not kind of complying with the bare minimum. On the one hand, we kind of have you are doing nothing. You're just providing, say, a device. So we're not going to necessarily hold the maker of a photocopier liable merely because one could use that photocopier to infringe in the future.
Right.
But it's different here where that internet service provider knows a little bit more about us than what the seller of the photocopier would know about me. Once I purchase it, they have no way of knowing if I'm using it for good or for evil. The ISP, that internet service provider, they know a little bit more, and they could do a bit more about it too, right? The photocopier seller isn't going to come back 2 years later and say, okay, let me check out what's been going on. Let me take the photocopier back from you. You can't have it anymore because you've been a bad actor. But the ISP could do something because they could take away that internet access. Is it a really harsh response? Yes, but there are potentially kind of some intermediary things they could do. There was some discussion at the Supreme Court yesterday about whether they could have more conversations with the actual owner of that account. So if it's, say, a university account, what could maybe that university try to do in relation to that internet service provider? If it was a hotel, what could the hotel do? If it's a household, letting the household know. And, if your teenager has been illegally streaming a bunch of music online, then maybe you can have a talk to them. The problem was Cox didn't really provide much evidence of doing any sort of these intermediate steps.
So
Instead, it just said, we don't care about the law.
So let me ask you this. I have a really bright audience, my mama included, a really bright audience, and they've heard me say over and over and over again over the years of doing television and radio, it's a simple point, but it's a salient point, one that I know as a law professor you will appreciate. But I remind this audience all the time that the Supreme Court chooses the cases it wants to hear, which is so unlike the way life works for all the rest of us. We don't always get to choose the situations and circumstances that we want to wrestle with. But the Supreme Court chooses the cases it wants to hear. You see where I'm going, Professor Goodyear. Why did the Supreme Court choose to hear this case? What's the rub here?
Yeah, I think as we've been talking about, it's a really tough case. There are really strong arguments for both sides here, of the remedy maybe being too strong of one, but also not wanting to let a bad actor get off. And so far, the similar or most similar, I guess I'd say, cases that the court has ever heard around copyright in this vein have just been so far afield. So they had one involving Grokster, the kind of music illegal file sharing service, 20 years ago. That was a totally different thing from providing the internet. There was a case involving the Betamax, kind of the pre-VHS tape player of the world.
Sure.
Now 40 plus years ago, and those are just very different cases. So the problem is the court's kind of going a bit blind here. They have to rely on a lot of what's been happening at these lower court levels for the last 20, 40 years. I think they're going to make a new rule. Regardless of what happens, I know that I will be having to change my slides for this when I present in class come next year. But we don't know necessarily what that rule is going to be. We heard the justices kind of arguing and struggling with, they think there should be some sort of balance. They don't really like that there's going to be no responsibility for Cox. They also don't like that left and right people are going to lose their internet access.
Yes,
The question is, how can they thread that needle?
Yes, I'm raising this question primarily because of two reasons. Number one, the internet is largely unregulated, as we know, and there are people, for the most part, I think, who celebrate the fact that is largely unregulated. There are others, obviously, in the other camp, but there is a sort of freedom that we have when it comes to use of the internet. I'm on both sides of this because I love the fact that I've got the freedom to use the internet as I will and as I choose to, but I also hate the fact that so much stuff can be said and done that's unregulated, and people get hurt and harmed and sometimes even killed because of stuff on the internet that goes unregulated. People lie every day in our politics and everything else in our culture because the internet is in fact wildly and largely unregulated. And so that's the way it has been since it basically came online, pardon the pun. I'm asking why they took this case because, again, here's an entity that's been largely unregulated to begin with. So is there something there that we need to be aware of about why the Supreme Court has taken this case, number one? And number two, we know this is a 63 conservative majority on this court. I'm still not getting a good answer from you about why you think they took this case. What's the point?
No, I think there's a big issue with how they took the case because it understood. Apologies. It understood at the time that they need to draw this line between internet access and not. So you alluded to this federal law called Section 230, which is basically why the internet we largely think of as unregulated.
Right.
You can kind of post whatever you want online, and the platforms aren't going to have any responsibility for that if you post something that's harmful or whatnot. And there are some good things about that. There are some very bad things about that. But that law, Section 230, it totally carves out intellectual property law, including copyright. So we wouldn't be having this conversation if it was, say, like defamation law. Defamation, there wouldn't be any responsibility on the part of the internet service provider. But here, it's carved out. They have to deal with the fact that they could potentially be liable or be responsible for these other parties' infringements. And I think that's part of the concern. The other concern is the court's actually been hearing a lot of cases kind of involving when one should be held responsible for others' harms. There was a case last term about a gun manufacturer selling guns over into Mexico that were allegedly being used by gangs there. Term before that, we had a case involving Twitter and whether Twitter could be held responsible for ISIS allegedly recruiting on their platform. And those cases were very different sets of facts, but the court's shown a lot of interest in trying to figure out this really tricky area of law of when we have actors who could do something but seem to not be doing very much, when can we bring them in? And because of kind of the setup of internet law, this is why copyright is a particularly kind of important area to tease it out. And Congress keeps hearing more and more proposals about how Section 230 might change. So this might be a bit of a predictor of how we could think about internet access more broadly if Congress were to do that.
Finally, speaking of predictors, it is always the case that if one pays close enough attention, one can get a sense, typically, not always, but one can get a sense of how the court is going to lean a particular case just by the questions that are posed by the justices. Can we get a sense of what we think they're going to do, given the oral arguments that were heard yesterday?
I am typically not a betting man, but in this case in particular, I would be hard pressed. We heard a lot of different questions going a lot of different ways. I think it's likely that we're going to have a new standard and that it will be kind of sent back down to the lower courts to figure out whether Cox meets that standard. But that kind of leaves a lot unsaid. Regardless, I think we're going to end up having a lot of divisions and we're going to hear a lot of different opinions from justices, written concurrences and dissents about what the new law will be. But we will find that out at some point between now and the end of June.
Yeah. I appreciate it. Michael Goodyear, Associate Professor at New York Law, and I appreciate his time talking about this Supreme Court case, oral arguments heard this week, Cox v. Sony. And again, if it sounded a bit esoteric, wanted to bring you up to speed on it because this decision is likely going to impact and affect all of us who in fact use the internet, and somewhere down the road we'll come back to it once the decision is rendered and tell you the ways in which their decision has and will in fact impact all of us, which means you, and you. Every one of us uses the internet, obviously. So we'll circle back to this at the appropriate time. For now, we thank Professor Goodyear for coming on to break it down for us. Have a great rest of your day, sir. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
All right. More of Tavis Smiley when we come forward.
What's your quarrel with the world? You're listening to Tavis Smiley.
I'm Bree Wood with BIN News Now. Dozens of new laws go into effect this week, including a bathroom bill. It's the Texas Women's Privacy Act, which conservatives have been pushing for the last decade.
Worked on for about the last 8 years, so definitely a huge victory.
That's Mary Elizabeth Castle with Texas Values. She says the bill slaps limits on women's restrooms and locker rooms, restricting them based on biological sex. A Southside Chicago church is picking up the pieces after a Thanksgiving Day fire destroyed Renewal Life Church. No injuries were reported. Services moved to Fairfield Baptist this past Sunday as the pastor plans to rebuild. And many veterans, including Black veterans, face PTSD and barriers to care due to stigma and racial disparities. Advocates like Dr. Deandra Poe and James Harris, a veteran, stress culturally competent care and breaking mental health stigmas. Get BIN News Now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
For victims of drunk and drug driving, our grief is unique. But you are not alone. You always have a place at MAD. Call our 24-hour victim helpline at 877-MAD-HELP or visit mad.org.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
It was a rough night for both of LA's NBA teams. The Phoenix Suns snapped the Lakers' 7-game winning streak with a dominant 125-108 victory at Crypto.com. First loss for the Lakers since November 12th at OKC. Dylan the Villain Brooks led Phoenix with 33 points and a lot of trash talking for LeBron and Lakers fans. LeBron finished with only 10 points in 31 minutes. The Clippers lost at Miami 140-123, fifth straight loss for the Clippers, who are now 5-16. Former Clippers guard Norman Powell led Miami with 30 points. The Clippers trading Powell after last season makes no sense at all. They really could use him now. Powell is leading Miami in scoring with 25 a game. Chargers quarterback Justin Herbert has surgery Monday on his fractured left hand. The 8-4 Chargers are unsure if Herbert will be available for Monday night's game against Philadelphia at SoFi. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
We've got a lot to talk about.
Hi, I'm Zoe Williams, a.k.a. the Voice of Reason, encouraging you to join me weekdays from 7 to 9 p.m. for the world's most intriguing relationship radio roundtable. Every night, I facilitate and encourage our loyal listeners to participate in the most engaging relationship discussions you'll hear anywhere. So make it a point to rendezvous with me, Zoe Williams, the Voice of Reason, Monday through Friday, 7 to 9 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Trust me, your relationships will never be the same. The VOR is on fire tonight.
Unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580. We've got your black. This is KBLA Talk 1580. Talk radio. That's music to your ears. We're unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580.
Compassion sponsorship means food, healthcare, education, and most of all, being known, loved, and protected. There are thousands of kids waiting over a year. End their wait. Sponsor a child with compassion today. Text the word radio to 83393.
Paid for by government.com. Did you know the United States Mint has issued a new Morgan silver dollar coin in proof condition for the first time? Not only that, they are also minted in 99.9% pure silver for the first time ever in history. Coin experts are calling this an amazing opportunity for anyone that knows the enduring popularity of Morgans. But you must hurry. Only 400,000 of these legal tender silver dollars were issued. These first ever Morgan silver dollars are brand new with stunning mirror-like finish, minted by the iconic San Francisco Mint. Call now and you're guaranteed a new first ever 99.9% pure silver proof Morgan dollar. To learn more, call 1-800-973-9717. If you order now, you will receive a free coin collector bonus pack, a $25 value, free with every order. Call 1-800-973-9717 now to secure your new Morgan silver dollars before they are gone. That's 1-800-973-9717.
Celebrate the soul of the holidays and support Altadena and Pasadena. Join us on Monday, December 15th, 7 p.m. inside the Bram Goldsmith Theater at the Wallace in Beverly Hills for Soul of the Holidays, a joyful night of Motor City soul, gospel, and holiday classics featuring an 18-piece band, all-star vocalist, and community choirs, all in support of the Black LA Relief and Recovery Fund. This performance comes at a pivotal time for many in Altadena and Pasadena. This is their first holiday season since the devastating Altadena Eden Canyon fire, which destroyed homes and community spaces. While the physical losses are immense, the power of community remains, and your attendance directly supports recovery, resilience, and renewal. So, be sure to join us Monday, December 15th, 7 p.m. inside the Bram Goldsmith Theater at the Wallace in Beverly Hills for Soul of the Holidays, benefiting survivors of the Altadena Eden Canyon fire. For ticket information, just log on to tickets@thewallace.org. That's tickets@thewallace.org. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580 and the Black Freedom Fund.
Freedom is an endless meeting, so So let's get back to it with Tavis Smiley.
A conversation now with award-winning organizer, a philanthropic consultant, co-founder of Black Voters Matter. LaTosha Brown talks about her economic pressure campaign, We Ain't Buying It. I love the name, We Ain't Buying It, and how we hold Trump and his enablers accountable. LaTosha, good to hear your voice. It's been too long. How are you?
I am well. Greetings. How are you this season?
If I complained, I'd be an ingrate. You know me. I'm just powering through every single day, doing the best I can. So it's funny because yesterday, who we start with yesterday? Malveaux, Julianne Malveaux, Dr. Malveaux was on yesterday, and she raised your name a couple of times. And I kind of chuckled last night when I saw that you were on the show today. So Malveaux pumped you up yesterday and the work that you're doing, so you should know that. But tell me about We Ain't Buying It. Just open up on that, and I'll jump from there.
Well, one, let me just say, this is why we need Black media and Black media platforms. So thank you for allowing me, creating a space to allow me to lift up what has happened. So a few weeks ago, we launched there was a collective, we launched an economic action campaign. It was an idea that I had a couple of months ago, was able to connect with some of the organizers to kind of anchor this. Tamika Mallory pulled together a meeting of Until Freedom, pulled a meeting together with various groups that were doing some economic pressure campaigns, and we came up with this effort. Collectively, we decided to do a We Ain't Buying It, and it's an economic pressure campaign designed to do three things. The quick version of it is, one, we want to reclaim our power as consumers. That, we don't just have power when it relates to kind of voting. While voting is a key and a critical piece for us of showing our power in this country and making impact, our economic power is also, and I know this is something that for years I've heard you lift up and say, and some of the work that you were doing around the state of Black America, there is a direct correlation between how we use our levers of power, our cultural power, our political power, but also our economic power. So just in thinking about Black people in general, $1.7 trillion annually we have in consumer power. And so instead of us, we've got to, what that means is we've got to make more conscientious interest decisions around how do we spend our money and who do we spend our money with. And so that was kind of the thought around how we could use this campaign in such a way that it wasn't about hurting the big box stores, although yes, we wanted to impact their bottom line, but really it was around how do we start building this muscle to actually create a cultural shift on how we think about our spending and how do we think about our investment in dollars with businesses that don't align with our values and support policies that hurt and harm us. The second thing was created around redirecting. So we wanted to reclaim our power, but we wanted to redirect our dollars too. That ultimately, if we've got that amount of money just as a community, right? When you look at the number of small, local, women-owned and Black-owned businesses, many of them have been taking a hit because of the tariffs. Their products we went to an African shop just the other day, and the sister said she had to stop ordering. Her stock is really limited in sizes because the tariffs, she couldn't continue to actually build her product line up with the tariffs that are coming attached to some of the products that she's bringing on for Africa. And so what we wanted to do is to redirect our spending to small, local, Black-owned, minority-owned, women-owned businesses that are in our community, that are the fabric of our communities, that we believe that is kind of the foundation of how you sustain communities. And the third thing was to resist. We were very clear we are resisting everything this administration is trying to put down that is hurting and harming us. It's abuse of power, the chaos and the corruption that is happening. And we want to send a message to at least some of the companies that have capitulated with this administration and have been colluding in many ways around some of the activities that ICE has been doing that is hurting and harming the very customers that actually help to build their company. And so that was really our economic, and we're calling it the Economic Action Campaign because there was a spectrum of activities and tools that people use. There were boycotts that were a part of it, the Target boycott. was a part of it. The Home Depot boycott was a part of it. But there were also other actions that people decided to do where they were protesting. There were protests all around the country where people were saying to not spend at this particular company or not to support this company or support workers. There were also actions where folks just decided to redirect their resources, not just to small and local companies and Black-owned businesses, but also to mutual aid. There are folks who were volunteering at mutual aid organizations and volunteering at food banks and feeding. So what we did is we created a campaign to serve as an umbrella to lift up the consciousness to say that we are consumers and we have power and we just ain't buying it.
Yeah. It seems to me, first of all, I love the work that you're doing, as I always have. I have great respect and adoration for all that LaTosha Brown does and has done, and frankly will do. But it seems to me that before you get to reclaiming, there has to be a sort of a re-education.
That's right.
And yesterday on this program, Dr. Cornell West was here, and he and I spent a good amount of time yesterday celebrating the 70th anniversary, as you know, yesterday, of Rosa Parks not giving up that seat on that bus. And I said yesterday on that 70th anniversary of this historic undertaking in Montgomery, that to my mind, that is still the best example of Black economic solidarity that I've ever seen. I don't know that we've done anything that comes anywhere near that because, as you know, being in the South and being a student of history, that campaign, that protest, that boycott lasted for an entire year. And everybody, all them Negroes, everybody got on the same page, and they shut that bus system down. There are a number of questions I could ask you about that, but let me just start with this. When it comes to, again, reclaiming, you got to start with the re-education. And I just don't know that, you've heard it said many times, we are not our grandparents, we're not our great-grandparents. So disabuse me of the notion that we aren't them, but that we do have the capacity to come somewhere close to what they did 70 years ago.
I certainly will. So one, I'm so glad you raised that. Actually, as we speak, one of the greatest honors that I can recall is yesterday for the kickoff of the celebration of Sister Rosa Parks and the Montgomery bus boycott. I was invited to kick off the event to be the keynote speaker at the church that she attended, and I'm in Montgomery right now, to actually lead this boycott, that to lift up this boycott that lasted not more than a year, lasted for 381 days. And so there were some elements that I want to lift that I think we have to kind of be mindful around. My part of what I talked about was, what have we learned in 70 years? Like, what is it that we've learned in 70 years? So one of the things that I think is really interesting is sometimes, oftentimes we think that we've got to have the foolproof right strategy. And it's true. We do need, on some level, we should be thinking very strategic around how we move. But sometimes we allow the perfect to be the enemy of good.
That's right.
And so there's so many people that will say, oh, boycotts don't work. Well, guess what? I was with folks last night, who were part of the boycott and said that folks told Dr. Keaton and others that the boycott is not going to work. People cannot go on buses, that they don't work, right? That ultimately, and I don't know if people know this, but the boycott was really supposed to last a day, right? There was no planning that this boycott would last for 381 days. But part of the success of it is because the different aspects and elements of the community came along. And so one, the women, what folks often don't know is that the women actually had been working and organizing months earlier. And when the moment happened, because they had a network and they were organizers, they got those leaflets printed and they went out and did this work to organize folks to participate in it, right? We also know that there was an element of where the cab drivers, what people may not know is how Black businesses stepped up too, because we also have to move away from this model around you being in Black business, that in itself is enough. No, it is not. That ultimately, if you are a Black person in business, you are in business because there were Black people before you that laid the foundation for you to be in business, right? And there was a certain level of responsibility that I think from Black businesses on how they participate in movement that, quite frankly, as an organizer and an activist, I will tell you that same level and intensity and spirit is not the same, because we've moved away from creating business, in my opinion, we've moved away from creating businesses for the intention of creating institutions and opportunities for the collective, that in many ways we're driven now by the same thing that America is driven by: individual wealth.
Hold that. Now you preaching now. Hold on, Reverend Dr. LaTosha Brown. We gonna pick up on that note right there about this line. I talk about this all the time. This distinct line between individual success and institution building. They are not the same thing. Individual versus the institution. She's on to something now. We're gonna pick up on that when we come forward on Tavis Smiley.
Interrogating and unpacking. That's what we do around here. You're listening to Tavis Smiley.
KBLA Talk 1580 remembers Robin Ayers on the 1-year anniversary of her passing. 1 year ago this week, we lost a remarkable and vibrant voice. Robin Ayers touched countless lives through her passion, her love, her service, and her smile, which you could see through the radio. KBLA Talk 1580 honors her memory and celebrates the legacy she left behind. Robin, your spirit lives on in every conversation, in every connection, and in every one of us, inspired by your voice. Gone, but never forgotten. KBLA Talk 1580, where voices matter.
I'm missing you. Tell me why the road turns. I'm missing you. Tell me why the road turns.
Yeah, y'all, come on. Come to
At KBLA Talk 1580, we fight the power every day.
Yeah,
gotta give us what we want. Gotta give us what we need. Hey!
I listen to KBLA and I love the commercials. I know what the commercials mean. I also, if I'm looking and trying to figure something out, I need something to talk to me that might hit me. And it happens on TV because, you know, every time they show a sporting event, they got the pharmaceutical companies back to back telling people how to fix the sickness on the same stuff that they sell them. So we get it.
Yep, we get it too, Chuck D. And that's why at KBLA Talk 1580, we don't black down.
Drop it! Our freedom of speech is freedom of death. We got to fight the powers that be. Fight the power! Fight the power!
We asked seniors how to prevent Medicare scams.
My best advice, if you get a phone call, do not talk to the person. These people are well trained. Don't talk to them.
They don't know me. They're just trying to scam me.
Don't be fooled. Hang up. Just hang up.
Never give out your Medicare number.
They're going to get your number to put in a false claim.
If I get a call from someone, I don't pick up the phone. And should I pick up the phone and they ask for information, then I hang up.
How do you detect Medicare fraud?
Just like I check my credit card statements, I check my Medicare statements monthly.
Scammers can get a hold of your number, order medical devices through your account, and you're not even going to know about it if you don't look at your statement.
Check your statement every month.
If you get your statement and you see something that you know you did not have done, you report it.
Call your senior Medicare Patrol.
To report Medicare fraud, call the Senior Medicare Patrol at 855-613-7080.
BET and PBS, the Tom Joyner Morning Show, and NPR, the cover of Jet and the cover of Time. #1 on the New York Times bestsellers list, 20 honorary doctorate degrees, a dozen NAACP Image Awards, a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, a Presidential Lifetime Achievement Award. From talk shows to talk radio, nobody's ever done it better. You like that? This is Tavis Smiley. Less monologue, more dialogue. Tavis Smiley continues right now.
He does indeed. LaTosha Brown is our guest, the co-founder of Black Voters Matter, now one of the visionaries behind this economic pressure campaign called We Ain't Buying It. My time is getting tight, LaTosha, but you were on to something a moment ago, and let me say this. In my life, and I've seen others who've done the same thing, while it is not a requirement, sometimes it is the individual success that leads to the institution building. That's been my story.
That's right.
I wouldn't be behind this station right now and this national platform if I didn't start with some level of individual success that made it possible for me to do what I had to do to start to build this institution.
That's right.
But they're not the same thing. You were on a roll. Take it away.
But I'll just say real quickly that it's not. I'm not opposed to individual wealth. I mean, part of we doing the work was because we want everybody, we want our people to be okay.
Right.
But it has to be connected to a larger collective strategy. And in some ways, as we've moved away from that, we've made ourselves more vulnerable.
That's right.
And so what made the Montgomery bus boycott work is that they were people, everybody had a role. Black media played a role in that moment of getting information to folks. Black businesses played a role. It was the black taxi drivers that actually helped it to be successful. I don't know, most folks may not know that, but the way that they actually created routes and really made the cost affordable so that black folks who did not have, and people use their own cars, right? There were black workers and vendors, people who were making food.
Hey, LaTosha, I laugh all the time because if you go to them, if you really study the Montgomery bus boycott as you have, these Negroes were the original Uber and Lyft.
This was the original Uber and Lyft. Please know this is the original Uber and Lyft.
That's right.
And so I'm saying that because in the same kind of spirit, that is what we did, the We Ain't Buying It campaign. But we also knew that what we are facing right now in terms of slowing down authoritarianism, that it was going to take a broader base. And so what we did is we were able to build a coalition of over 226 organizations. We actually have over those organizations, many of those organizations have millions of members. We got SEIU, AFT, the American Federation of Teachers, the No Kings Alliance. And so it wound up being while it was rooted and anchored by Black leadership, it's a multicultural, multiracial, multi-generational effort. And as a result, what we've seen is actually it's gone viral. There's over 815 media clips that have been done about the movement in the last 2 weeks, over 6.5 million impressions, engagements that came from just our website alone. That doesn't even include all the other organizations. My point is that millions of people knew about it, participated in it, and we did it in a way that we resisted and we maintained our humanity, and we had some fun with it. Yep.
I want to ask when we come forward in our remaining moments with LaTosha Brown, what happens next? She's talking specifically right now, of course, about the impact they had on Black Friday. Yesterday was Cyber Monday. And so the impact was felt around the country, and she gave you some data points about that. The exit question is, where do we go? Speaking of Dr. King, where do we go from here? That's the exit question for LaTosha Brown when we come forward on Tavis Smiley.
For all the freedom-loving folk, this is Tavis Smiley.
I feel like freedom.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. If you need help getting your resume in order, finding job training, or landing a job, we've got 3 great options for you. First, the City of Los Angeles has work source centers across the area offering free job support. The California Workforce Development Board can help you with everything from GED prep to vocational training at no cost to you. On the federal level, the Department of Labor's American Job Centers offer a full range of services for job seekers and businesses alike. Visit careeronestop.org, or for more info, just call California's Help Center or visit cwdb.ca.gov or call 916-657-1440. For the City of Los Angeles programs, go to ewd.lacity.gov or call 213-744-7300. All these services are free to help you get your next job. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
My mom has decided to learn to paint, and she's good.
My dad's now into creative cuisine, and I've already put on 6 pounds.
Learning new things comes with age.
My mom, she started forgetting my name and what we're talking about.
Forgetting well-known things doesn't. Memory loss may be a sign of Alzheimer's disease. Early detection gives you and your loved one time to plan for the future. Learn the warning signs of Alzheimer's at 10signs.org. Brought to you by the Alzheimer's Association and the Ad Council.
If you're like me, 60 and retired, making ends meet, especially here at the supermarket and drugstore, is tough. I'm so blessed to have found benefitscheckup.org. It's a free and confidential website from the National Council on Aging that connected me to $1,200 a year in programs that help pay for food, medicine, utilities, and more. Maybe it can help you. BenefitsCheckup.org.
You know where you want to go in life, and City National Bank can help. City National knows the dedication it takes to build your vision for the future into a reality, and our team is here for you. We have a wide range of options to help, from personal savings accounts to interest-bearing money market savings accounts and more, all designed to help you get where you want to go. City National, here for every stage of the journey. Learn more at cnb.com. City National Bank is a subsidiary of Royal Bank of Canada, member FDIC.
More honesty than you can handle. More empowerment than you can imagine. You're tuned in to Tavis Smiley.
I've got 3 minutes left in this half hour, 3 minutes left, and I want to yield the balance of my time, as they say, to the co-founder of Black Voters Matter and the visionary behind We Ain't Buying It, LaTosha Brown. All 3 minutes belong to you, LaTosha. Where do we go from here?
So I want to say thank you to all the people that participated. There are a couple of points I want to make. The first thing is we got to redirect our power, y'all. Our dollars must uplift our communities. If we're serious about change, we've got to redirect our dollars to Black-owned, local, and community-centered businesses. You have the opportunity to do that between now and Christmas. So make sure that you're making your list and take yourself on a Black treasure hunt and support Blackness, Black businesses. We've got to also build a new economic rhythm. That we need to move from doing impulse buying to intentional investing. Invest in our community, invest in those businesses, those folks that look like us. There are almost 1 million Black women that have lost their jobs. One of the things that we can do is support Black women entrepreneurs in this process over the season. The third thing is understand the truth. We need to understand that they're going to come with all kind of information that this was the best season ever. And we know that the media is measuring the wrong thing. Mainstream outlets, they keep asking whether sales dropped enough. That's not the story. The story is that we are making conscious choices and decisions to redirect our resources to build our communities and to support folks who align with us. That is going to make a shift. Over time, it is changing things, which is why you're seeing so much frenzy around sending out the wrong information. The last 2 points that I make is I think it's really important for folks in this moment to make community centering, like make that spending the norm. It can't be the exception. It's not something that we're doing because we're trying to help Black folks. It's something that we're doing because we are thinking like nation builders. We got to shift from seeing ourselves just as citizens of this nation and see ourselves as nation builders. The last point that I think is really important for us to understand is that movements are built like rivers. Mighty rivers are filled drop by drop. And every time that we participate, every time that we lift our voice, every time we use our agency that God has given us, that we make change. When we work together, we win. So I hope in this moment that folks continue to stand with We Ain't Buying It. You can go to our website. We're still up. We're still rolling. We're moving on. And we want, if you look at the one weekend of sales, that we were able to actually be able to impact and put so many millions of people into this movement that we are ready. And it's time. It's our moment. It's our time. So thank you, Brother Tavis, for all that you do for our communities. And I am hoping that the people that are listening here are also supporting your platform because we certainly need Black media.
Nope, you are more than kind, LaTosha Brown, and anything I can do always to support your work and witness, I'm here for it. She is the co-founder of Black Voters Matter and the visionary behind this economic pressure campaign called We Ain't Buying It. She is LaTosha Brown. Always honored to have her on this program. LaTosha, I'll talk to you soon. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you. Thank you. Have a blessed day.
Same to you. More of Tavis Smiley when we come forward.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
I'm Bree Wood with BIN News Now. Dozens of new laws go into effect this week, including a bathroom bill. It's the Texas Women's Privacy Act, which conservatives have been pushing for the last decade.
Worked on for about the last 8 years, so definitely a huge victory.
That's Mary Elizabeth Castle with Texas Values. She says the bill slaps limits on women's restrooms and locker rooms, restricting them based on biological sex. A Southside Chicago church is picking up the pieces after a Thanksgiving Day fire destroyed Renewal Life Church. No injuries were reported. Services moved to Fairfield Baptist this past Sunday as the pastor plans to rebuild.